Yo, what's up guys? This is the Insane Game Freak here, and I'm here to we're going to talk about some gaming here today. And I kind of want to talk about this whole notion of how we still have the comment of, oh, if you're a real gamer, you should own all three consoles, because realistically, a gamer is someone who plays all games. Like, why is it that you only want to own one? You know, if you're a fanboy, is a guy who only owns one of the consoles. And I want to talk to that because I feel like people don't realize why people pick and choose their consoles and they're still classified as gamers, even though I don't really feel like I feel like in a group of people who were originally filled up with guys and girls who use video games as an escape from reality, I like how the fact that we are now, and we used to clamor all the time when we were little about how no one ever understood how gamers acted. And then when gaming became mainstream, you had a flood of new people who, for all intents and purposes, not all of them really have the same mentality. I mean, we can kind of tell that just looking at the community online. But I love how now we're so quick to knock people out of the thing that we wanted so many people to come into in the first place. It's like you wanted a whole bunch of people to come into your group to understand you, so maybe the world would understand why you game and why you like video games so much. And now we're trying to do the opposite. We're trying to alienate and get out as many people as we can. And this is why people don't like when things go mainstream, because they don't like the attention. They think they want the attention, but they really don't want the attention. But anyways, this on my bed, for Wii U, it's just all the games I bought in 2014. And then for 3DS, this is mainly full of games that I haven't beaten yet. Generally, I don't think you can beat Tomodachi Life, and I've at least started all of these games except for fucking Romance Dawn, particularly because that was partially because I'm a One Piece fan, and two, because and the other reason why I haven't played it is because from what I heard it's a piece of shit. Kind of like Unlimited World Red. Ha ha ha! And that's digital on my Wii U. Even though I have the physical PS3 copy for no goddamn reason. Yeah, I bought the game twice, deal with it. But that's besides the point. The notion is like, why is it that, real gamers should own both the consoles, should own all three consoles? There's a reason why we don't. Most of us are now either in our late teens, early 20s, going into obvious adulthood shit. Meaning we do not have the time, pretty much we don't have the time to do that. And some of us just don't have the money either to own. That is about $1,000 just in consoles, because we have 443. That's $1,000. Actually, more than $1,000. If you get shit on sale, it'd be $350 and then $4. So you're still spending about $1,000 just on the console itself. And then depending on what kind of gamer you are, if you play all games, that means you got to pay for online for two of those consoles, which is another $120 something a year. Realistically, as human beings, we do not have that kind of money or time to be wasting on this shit. And me personally, just as a Nintendo fan, I'm already busy. I'm on my third playthrough with this Waifu Emblem. Also, side note for any Fire Emblem Awakening fans, they just put out pre-orders for a Lucina figure. Bruh, why do y'all keep trying to take my money? I already like the game. I play as Lucina and Ike and Smash and Robin. And that's whatever. But all these games I have to play. People are like, oh look, the Wii U doesn't have any games. In 2014, and I know what people are gonna say, but it did come out in 2014, but that's besides the point. If you don't want to count that, we have 5 major releases for 2014, which seems relatively miserable when you look at it objectively, because that's only 5 games. The difference is that those 5 games have hours of upon. This game can last you years. That is not even an argument. That is a fact. This game can last you years. This game can last you a few months, a good couple months, especially if you casually play it. So can Bayonetta. Bayonetta you could probably beat within a month or so. Mario Kart 8 is Mario Kart, and Donkey Kong is Donkey Kong. Mario Kart 8 is another one you'll play for an entire generation. So it's like, I'm spending $60 for something I'm going to continuously go back to. I was playing this today, partially because I recently bought this. So that was the other reason why I was playing it all of a sudden. I don't even have the DLC for it. I'm just kind of going back and trying to do all the missions and whatnot. But it's like, there's a reason why people are kind of making the decisions to pick a console and stick with it for a generation. Unless you really think you're going to have the time to do all this shit. And see, and from someone like me, who's not only a gamer, but I like anime. I consistently watch and buy anime. That thing over there should tell you a lot. And that's not even all my stuff. That's just some of it. It's gotten to the point where it's like you need to pick and choose your consoles and consider. And people always get mad. It's like what was it? The dude came in here to me today, and this was hilarious. Me and my friend were in Best Buy because my friend was trying to find bought some Black Friday stuff, and we were looking at the game section because his mom got him a PlayStation 4, so he was buying accessories for it in advance. Dude comes up to us and goes, "Oh, y'all looking at an Xbox One or PlayStation 4?" And I said, "No." He said, "Well, obviously my friend already has a PlayStation 4," and he was like, "Oh, I just bought an Xbox because like I wanted the PlayStation 4, but I just really wanted a next gen console." And I was like, "See, this is the problem, guys. Stop buying consoles just off of wanting the console. Like, it's literally gotten now where people are buying these systems just because they're there." And see, people get mad when people like to play down the Sony PlayStation 4 hype. That's because most people are just buying the shit because it's new, which was my issue with the PlayStation 4 being out in the first place. The PlayStation 3, I still think is an amazing fucking console. This is a great fucking console, and this thing has a lot of missed potential. I feel like when they were really starting to get into it, they left it alone. And this is what pisses me off, because people will sit there and say, "Oh, it was time for a new generation. We needed better graphics." This hasn't been tapped out yet. The console that you were tired of hasn't even been tapped the fuck out. The Wii wasn't even tapped the fuck out. So how can you sit here and say that we needed a new generation, especially considering this first year the other two have been literally nothing but fucking definitive editions or PS4 versions of a game you've already played, and the exclusive games you've gotten have been either okay or mediocre as fuck. And see, that's the thing. There's this random expectation of the next gen being something bigger than what it actually was. It's not. So when people look at me and go, "Oh, how is it that you only own a Wii U when you have two better consoles in there?" Well, you gotta understand, when it comes to PlayStation, which is the one I'll probably end up getting later on, I mainly get that for Japanese games that I can't get on my Wii U. I'm not going to Xbox for that shit. And the other problem is like, going back to what happened, what was it, a few weeks ago, where you had those news posts about how Iwata and Reggie were saying that PlayStation and Xbox was boring. Not that they weren't of quality, not that they didn't have quality shit, but just because they were boring. And then you think about it and you go, "Oh, it's because half of their library, if not more of that, is the exact same games." And then people go, "You need to own all three consoles to get the full experience." And then you realize that two of the consoles offer the same damn experience. See, people don't understand. It's not that Nintendo has a cornerstone on this kind of market, the more stylized games and shit. It's because Sony and Microsoft, especially Sony just kind of stepped away from that. Sony used to do similar things to it, and people didn't fucking complain then. Now it's like, "Oh, it's kiddie, so you don't fucking play it." But I'm like, Sony used to do that all the time. They've kind of stepped away from it, trying to be all fucking samey and shit, because that's what the modern gamer wants. And that's the fucking problem. The modern gamer is not a gamer. The modern gamer is the guy who only picks up the latest Call of Duty, the latest Assassin's Creed, the latest Battlefield isn't really that consistent to be as... But they're the guys who pick up the overhyped games. That's why when you look on VG charts, Bayonetta 2 is sold about the same amount as Sunset Overdrive. A game that was relatively hyped for the Xbox One. It's one of their bigger exclusives, and it's selling around the same. I think Sunset Overdrive is selling a little bit more than this, but they're selling around the same. Why is that? Because it's become this fucking, "Oh, well, we need to talk about the super hyped up games and have the ridiculous amount of graphics and have the ridiculous budget behind it," but it's usually the game that you give the shit a least about. And then people will get mad when you have Nintendo fans over here hyping up things like Mario Kart or fucking Bayonetta or, Smash Brothers. Because these games will last us an entire generation. They're actually designed to do that. And now that we have DLC for this fucker, yeah, these are games that are meant to last as a generation. Hell, the content in here with just the shit. I would honestly say this is worth more than $60. This is, I would argue, pretty closely worth more than $60. I'd say at least 70 or 80. And if you bought the DLC, you were spent about that anyway. So I felt like you got your money's worth just with the game itself. Why buy all three consoles when two of them offer the same experience? And on top of all of that, the games that people talk about the most are the ones that have the biggest disappointments behind them. It's like, I'm not saying Destiny is a bad game, but most people don't view it as highly as they did when they first heard about it. The same thing with Watch Dogs. Watch Dogs, I've heard being compared to a poor man's GTA 5. Why is that? You know, it's crazy. People clout and tout the shit out of next gen, but the games that you probably had the most fun with this year are fucking ports of games from this console. How about that? How about that? That's just fucking crazy to me. So yeah, with all the limited amount of time and I have and money for other things, you know, life and other hobbies, and yet people look and go, you should have all three consoles because you're supposed to be a gamer. I'm like, my Nintendo console can keep my shit. The 3DS and the Wii U can keep me busy for the next year. Because all this will keep me busy. I can go back to literally all these games. All of them. For the most random reasons. Actually, I still need to beat Sonic Boom. I don't think the game is horrible. I just think it's a mediocre, boring piece of shit. Meaning, it's not it's you know, technically it's a shitty game, but it's just not it's just a boring ass game. Like, people shat on Lost World, but I'm like, dude, Lost World fucking stomps the shit out of that. Just at least in terms of gameplay and having fun, it's more interesting level design. This is just boring, basic ass platforming shit. And then people got mad when I say that Nintendo has better platformers than Sony, even with Jak and Daxter and Ratchet and Clank. Why? Because the guys who made those, well, at least some of them made that. That basic ass level design. I'm not being a dick. That's just something I noticed. But I'm just saying, all this obsession with next gen, and I still think the PlayStation 4 is rushed. I mean, all of them are rushed, but at least Nintendo had more of a reason. The Wii literally had kind of dropped off the earth by the time 2011 hit. They kind of needed it. Sony literally could have kept going with the PlayStation 3. It was more of a money thing, and the fact that they would lose to Microsoft purely based on their console being new. Because I still think the PS3 had a lot of fucking potential in it. And I'm betting this thing is going to be supported for at least another 2 years. People don't think I'm right, but that's what I think. I think this will be supported for at least another 2 years, which just makes the argument for getting a PlayStation 4 even weaker. Especially when you have a lot of cross-gen games and developers who need money, who are so paranoid about making money that they're just like, I need to put this out on all the consoles that will have the install base. And you know, your 13 million doesn't really compare to the, you know, the ridiculous amount of people you had buying to the PS3. At the end of the day, hardcore gaming is kind of a bullshit term in itself, but when someone tells you because you don't own all three consoles or because you have a personal preference or just because you own only one and tell you you're not a gamer, that probably means they don't have a life. If you can play games all day, that's fine. But for someone like me who has other things they need to do, I focus on the consoles that I want to play the most games from. And it has the biggest variety in games. When Sony gets some more Japanese games and Batman and Kingdom Hearts release, Kingdom Hearts probably won't release for another 2 years, then I'll worry about PlayStation 4. But for right now, just like I told the dude in Best Buy, I am completely fine with my Wii U. And my 3DS. I'm waiting for that new 3DS to come out. Hell, these two are going to be a bitch. purely because these games in themselves can take out hundreds of hours. And that's the thing. A lot of these games are designed to take out like fucking days, months, years. Shit. So when people say, oh, you need all three consoles, you don't fucking need all three consoles. This is a hobby. It's not supposed to be something I'm stressing out over getting every fucking thing. It's not Pokemon cards. It's not like everyone catches them all in this anymore. I'm just saying. I just kind of thought that was something that needed to be said. People are kind of they're forcing themselves to buy into shit that doesn't need it. Because like as the dude at the Best Buy said, I think it was time for me to get a next gen console. And I sat there and I went, why? I'm like, what are you playing that you couldn't play before? And no one has really given me an answer. Because as I said, the most touted and loved games aren't even from this new generation. So what the fuck are you on when you tell me, oh, you need to get you need to get true next gen consoles? You mean the consoles that you're playing the best games from last year on? Exactly. Fucking lie to me. If you own your PlayStation 4 or Xbox One, that's fine. But just understand that as a quote-unquote hardcore gamer, you prove my point purely by owning The Last of Us Remastered, even if you played it before. Or owning Tomb Raider Definitive Edition. Owning GTA 5 Definitive Edition. Why? Because you prove that what's supposed to be coming out this year, you know, the games that were supposed to be touted as the best for this year, don't even hold a candle to the games you were playing a year ago on a console that is a generation ago. So at the end of the day, do you need all three consoles? Fuck no. Get the one that suits your needs the most. And roll with that. PS3, I apologize that life and Sony's business model did not allow you to reach your full potential. But for those who don't know, this was a beast. To the point in which I would still buy this over a PlayStation 4 if I didn't have either one. She's fucking great, man. But that's just me. Anyways, this has been the Insane Game Freak. Life's a game. Play to win. And I'll catch you guys later. Sell it and smash!